What if the life you've been working so hard to build is not actually the one that you were designed for? I know that you and I, many times, we're trying to figure out life as we go forward. But you know what? There is a matrix that we can follow. Come on, let's go ahead and get into this conversation. Welcome back to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast, where we explore the mindset, the clarity, and intentional leadership practices that help you and I to move from where we are to where we're truly called to be. I'm your host, Adrienne Benson, and today's conversation invites us to take a deeper, closer look at something that many leaders feel, but we don't always question. We're talking about the system that we've been taught to follow when it comes to our careers, when it comes to success, and when it comes to fulfillment. I'm super excited, let me tell you, because today I have Caleb Matthews who's joining us, and we're putting a microscope on what he calls the matrix. Let me tell you a little bit about Caleb. Caleb Matthews is the founder of the C-Link and one of the most versatile speakers in the spiritual strategy space. Over the past 20 years, Caleb has helped thousands decode the hidden signals in their dreams and personal history and daily frustrations to discover their unique purpose. Today, Caleb is with us, and he is here to help us to see the link between who we are and who we were designed to be. Caleb, welcome to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast.
Thank you for having me on, Adrienne. This is fantastic. Hey, I feel like I can run through a brick wall listening to that introduction. What a great intro. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. So listen, as I was thinking about this conversation that we're having today, the Matrix, that is mesmerizing me already. But I was thinking that the Matrix, it isn't always obvious, Caleb. Sometimes, for me, I feel like sometimes the matrix it's built through our expectations, through our habits, through what we define as success. So I want to start off by asking you this question. When you talk about the matrix, what does that represent in the context of who we are as leaders, in the context of our career, success, and the way that most of us approach work?
It represents a construct. And this is one of the 3 C's I talk about with the C-Link, which is conform, contract, and construct. And when we align to a construct, it may look, good on the outward appearance, and there's nothing wrong with staying in that mind frame for a little while. But if it becomes a lifestyle of, I'm going to stay in this construct because this is the comfortable thing, it's just routine for me. It's routine for me to do the 9 to 5. It's routine for me to be in a position where I'm good at something, but it doesn't really stretch my parameters of my design. And that can be a dangerous place. But I believe it begins, in my experience, with construct, what we allow to align with and what we don't.
What we align with and what we don't. Talk to me, take us a little bit deeper on that point right there, alignment.
Alignment. We've often heard of the phrase, don't wear somebody else's armor, right? It's like, okay, you have armor that's fitted for somebody like a shoe. But no armor is going to fit you and I the same way it's going to with our own construct. The same way it's not going to fit somebody else who's listening to this podcast right now. And to back up this illustration, I want to go back into ancient history. I love my history. In school, history was a subject where I didn't have to conjure up excitement to go after history. History was just the thing to get into. So let's get into some biblical ancient history, just as a little bit of a context here for this comment itself. The story of David and Goliath, one of the ancient stories of the Bible, but through history, we've seen it displayed in recent TV series and Amazon Prime, House of David. By the way, little shout out for House of David. That is a great show, one of the top shows on Amazon Prime. Check it out. But in the Bible, David faces off against Goliath. And what most people don't know about the story is when David says, I'm going to fight the giant, I'll do it, like this small shepherd boy, who the army and the king and his brothers thought, there's no way you can take down this behemoth Nephilim giant who is a soldier trained from birth. David took on the giant. And when Saul said, yeah, you can fight him, finally you've convinced us you're going to be the guy. But he said, wait a minute, David, you got to put on my armor. Now, how often have we heard that in our modern day culture? Oh, in order for you, Caleb, in order for you, Adrienne, in order for you, audience, to be successful, you got to do it this way. Otherwise, you're not going to be successful. Well, that's not the way that our construct of design works. And what I want to get into is don't wear somebody else's armor. Learn from me, but I don't want you to be another Caleb Matthews. If you've done the wrong job, be yourself, your armor, not somebody else's armor. When David threw off the armor and decided to fight the giant himself with what God had put in his hands, then he won the victory. Don't put on somebody else's armor.
Listen, this is powerful. So here on Transformation Station, we always give our listeners and viewers an opportunity to pause and to really just take in what they're hearing. And leaders, this is a great place for you to pause right now and just focus on being aware and what is resonating with you. Caleb just gave us a really good, he told us, actually, don't wear somebody else's armor. So I invite you, even at this moment, to pause and think about the armor that you're wearing every day. Is it truly your own? Are you authentically walking in your calling and in your purpose? I love this. So let me ask you this question, Caleb. You say people's daily frustrations are actually clues to their purpose. I love that word, purpose. Can you break that down for us?
Sure. Every one of us, we go through those daily frustrations. It's like, oh man, somebody cut me off when I was trying to get to work. Oh man, like I'm not meeting my deadlines, or I'm stressed about my bills. We have these frustrations where life doesn't happen in the timing that we want it. And as human beings, it really is first nature to say, oh, I want it in my timing, right? But time is a human construct. It's a construct, it's a Gregorian calendar. And oftentimes, no pun intended, the great moments of purpose happen when the timing looks different than what we think it's going to look like. That is really where the sweet sauce comes into play. What do you think?
Well, I'm glad you put me on the spot there. Honestly, I was so caught into what you were saying. I was like, what do I think? So talk to me a little bit more. Let me come back and get my thoughts together. Because honestly, I was really just zoning in on what
This is great. I'm always one to want to share the microphone as well. That's just part of my design. But really being outside of time is something that our spirit is. We talk about trichotomous versus dichotomous. And our audience is thinking, what, Caleb, what do you just say? I'm going to break it down. We are spirit, soul, and body. That's trichotomous, our trichotomous being. Every one of us has a conscience, which is I believe is our spirit. We have a mind or soul, mind, will, and emotions, and we have a physical construct, a body. And unfortunately, most of society have been taught through the construct of the systems of the world, media, to only focus on our mind and our body. But our spirit, that's where, when we connect with that and we connect with higher power, connect with God, then we're able to get beyond those frustrations and think, okay, this isn't just random frustrations. There's a message behind this. There's something behind this. Like the gold miners, for example, in the California gold rush, they sold homes and land and left comfortable matrix 9-to-5 jobs to go on the California gold rush. And when they got there, what did they have to do? They had to get down their hands and knees and pan for gold in the river. And what did they have to go through? The muck, the dirt. That's the daily frustrations. You and I can be California gold panners. We may not be back there in history, but the message is the same. When you go through the muck and you go through the dirt, you're going to find the gold.
I love it. So what I'm thinking right now is that as leaders, a best practice could be that we should be aware and track our frustrations, right? And then ask, what are my frustrations revealing about my strength? What are my frustrations revealing about my values? What are my frustrations revealing about my, I don't know, desired impact that I want to have? Is that kind of?
That's accurate. Like, as a practical activation, exactly. We should step back as leaders, as people, and say, what is this a picture of?
Mm,
If I could interpret my day, in fact, one of my great mentors, one of the primary lessons that he taught when I was in school under his teaching as an intern, he said, all right, let's step back and
mhm.
let's look at our day. Adrian, let's look at your day. Let's look at my day, Caleb. Audience, look at your day and
Yes.
interpret your day as if it were like a book like Chronicles of Narnia, Lord of the Rings, and you're interpreting a message behind your day. What is your day saying if it were a story to be interpreted? When you look at it that way, when I look at life that way, it's no
Mhm.
longer just random circumstances or frustrations or highs or lows. There's a message behind it. So leaders, step back. Don't
Mm,
get lost in the busyness, because this life will get you busy to where your head's down and you can't even think straight. I'm talking to myself too. Step back and say, what is my day a
mm.
picture of?
What is my day a picture of? Step back. I love that. The pause. So I have to ask you this. Why do so many professionals stay in traditional 9 to 5 model even when or if we feel unfulfilled or called to do something more? Why do we stay?
Because of an inner contract that we have made before the outer contract is manifest. It's a agreement with one of the most dangerous cults in the world today, and that's
Mm,
called the cult of comfort.
mercy.
The
Mm,
cult of comfort will push us off of our DNA of design, our design, the reason why you're here, the reason why I'm here, the reason why every person tuning into this call and this podcast right now, the reason why we're here on the earth. If we settle for a cult of comfort, for
mm,
something maybe we're good at, like
mm,
an example from my life is I came out of 10 years in the corporate world at the top of my game. I was one of the best salespeople. I had a 5-figure job, going to turn into a 6-figure job, owned a house in one of the most expensive places to live in Canada, in Kelowna, British Columbia, had the fancy car, had the house, had the job, was one of the top salespeople, went on the Vegas trips, won the awards, but I was bored. And my conscience was kept on speaking to me. My spirit, God kept speaking to me saying, Caleb, is this what you want to be the rest of your life for the next 10 years? Or do you want to push the boundaries and the horizons and really extend your reach and step into what you're called and what you're designed to be? So my conscience spoke to me. And in fact, one of my last emails I wrote to my management team after they refused a business proposal, that is a long story, I won't get into that, but they refused a business proposal where I wanted to craft out my own job. And they didn't think that my design was worth it after 10 years of loyal service. So I said, I'm leaving. But in my email, here's what I wrote. In the words of the great Martin Luther, it is neither right nor safe to go against my conscience. So therefore, I can't stay. I'm not
mm,
staying in the cult of comfort. So here I am, 3 years later, digital nomad, San Jose del Cabo, Mexico, running 2 online businesses. But I chose to not go against my conscience. So audience, when your
mm,
conscience is speaking, do
mhm.
not push it down, because if you push it down, eventually it's going to bubble up like a soft drink and something's going to explode and it's not going to be pretty.
Mercy. I love it. And I love what you said earlier about the cult of comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leadership principle that we can think about today is that comfort can limit growth. And to all of us as leaders, it is important that we not dwell in comfort. There's nothing wrong with being comfortable, but you can't dwell in it.
Yeah.
You must always move and allow yourself to grow, 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 grow. Don't let your growth be limited. So there are 7 design archetypes in your framework, Caleb. Which one surprises people the most when they discover it's theirs? Talk to us.
That's a really good one, because all 7 of them are really, really juicy and really full of life. But I would
Mhm.
have to say the navigator is one that people get really surprised when you point out to them. Like a friend of mine, she's a TEDx speaker and, just somebody who's an author. And when I spoke just to her saying, you know what, you're really a navigator. This is what I've experienced from your interaction with me and our growing friendship. It just hit her. It's like, it's not something, maybe it's something she had known in different language before, but she was just taken aback at, oh, thank you for saying that. And it was just like that moment of, aha, this is makes sense. All these different experiences of how to have led up to this definition of navigator, and it made sense. It was like things started to click even more, and it's built in her life, and I've seen that and experienced that. But the navigator is really a big one, because a lot of us, we think, okay, am I really leading somebody somewhere? Or, what am I doing is what makes a difference? Sometimes, the authors, the TEDx speakers, the leaders anywhere can sometimes have those moments. We can all have those moments of, am I making a difference? Not just to the crowds, but to the individual people. That, to me, from my experience, the navigator, from what I've experienced in her example, but for others, is one of the ones that makes people step back and think, wow, I'm amazed. I'm a navigator.
I love it. So listen, 7 design archetypes, right? Why does discovering your archetype, why does this matter so much? Take us deeper. Talk to us about this.
It really matters because there's a difference between functioning in your gift, what your abilities are, and having some sort of connection to that, versus functioning in alignment and awareness of your DNA of design. There's a big difference. If you know that you're an activator, a seer, a catalyst, a steward, a builder, a healer, a navigator, if you're aware that you're in that frame of mind, then everything looks different. If you step into a room with a builder mindset and okay, I'm aware that I'm a builder and that I need to help the group build something when nobody can see it, that's going to make a big difference versus stumbling your way along saying, okay, am I a builder? Am I a seer? I'm a healer? Like, what am I? But when you know what your design type is, you can lead others and you can function it yourself. Because, for example, for myself, like, I'm more or less a seer design type. So I like being in environments where I can see and experience. But if you put me in an environment where you say, okay, Caleb, you got to stay in this environment and all you're going to do is build, 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 build. I like building, but as a long-term framework, that's not going to work for me, because my old job and my telecom job and sales, it was all about building the sales environment. And I'm good at sales, but long-term, if you're going to keep me in that one design type, that's not me. But for you, it could be. It's important to know what your design type is so that you can be aware of what environment as a leader you should be investing your time in and how you can lead others.
I love that. In Transformation Station, we have a best practice here. That best practice says take time to understand your natural tendencies and strengths, then align your work and decisions accordingly. Yes. And Caleb, I love the example that you gave us. Could you give us one more example of maybe someone that you've worked with where when they came to an awareness of their archetype, like it made a difference in how they led or how they worked?
Sure. I'll use a practical example from recently in a conversation with one of my friends who's a CEO and a leader of, just a very, very wealthy company within the wellness and the health space and the health and medical world. And we were sitting in the vehicle and having a conversation driving to one of our next meetings. And she was sharing a story of how in her son's family, just a girlfriend's family, sorry, they were at an Easter celebration, and the children were supposed to be looking for chocolate-covered eggs. And the point I'm getting to, I'll get to here in the story. But instead, unfortunately, to the horror of her son, they were instead looking for little tequila shot jelly beans. Like small kids looking for tequila shots. There's something wrong with this picture. And so she was just really like despairing to me as she was sharing the story that this was one of the introductions her son got to the girlfriend's family, was that they thought it was cute that children were running after little gummy tequila shots. Children shouldn't be doing that. And so when I spoke with her, I said, well, at the age that they're at, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, the design type at that age should be being in a lemonade stand, selling lemonade to people, painting chocolate eggs and hiding them in discovery. Because those early years of entrepreneurship, this is one of the 4 pillars of the C-Link that we talk about that's really important for our design, is those early years. They can form you or they can set you on the wrong path. And catching it very early is important. So within design type, there's an example of a toxic activator that allowed the children to be doing that versus a healthy activator be one that would give them an environment to grow in that is what children should be, not something that's going to harm them. So as leaders, even though many of us listen to this podcast, most of us are probably grown-ups, it's still the same principle. The same principle is we need to look at what environments are healthy for our design type to flourish versus which ones are toxic, which are actually going to do more harm than good.
I love this. And a leadership principle that I'm thinking of just simply says self-awareness strengthens leadership effectiveness. And this is what I hear Caleb saying to us all day. I love this. So Caleb, let me ask you this. If there is a leader right now that is listening that feels like they're playing the wrong game in life, what's the one thing that you would say they need to understand?
MPA, multiple perspective advantage. Most of the world that we live in today focuses on HPA, the here and now, the quick fix, the Burger King mentality of I got to have it quick, I got to have it fast, and I got to have it now. And if we look back through history, because history speaks, all the successful entrepreneurs, leaders, men and women across the ancient world, to the medieval, to the Renaissance, to World War II, to the modern day that we live in, every single one of them had to go through the ringer. And that was getting into MPA, multiple perspective advantage. I'll show you an example, really good example, of a catalyst who had MPA. The great Rosa Parks, if she decided that she was going to give up her seat on a bus, she wouldn't have been a catalyst for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement, because she had MPA and said, no, the buck stops with me. I'm not going to give up my seat on a bus. I'm going to stand against segregation. And when she did, she opened up a whole world of breakthrough as a catalyst. Eventually, that led to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement. But I always like to ask myself these questions. I'm not sure if you do, Adrienne. I think of what if in those moments in history. What if Rosa Parks didn't refuse? What if she yielded to the cult of comfort? We'd be looking at a different piece of history, wouldn't we?
Yes, we would. Absolutely. That's a powerful question. And, to all of our leaders that are listening and watching right now, especially those who are watching, I want to invite you to right now in the chat, go ahead and tell us what's resonating with you. Answer the what if question. What if you don't speak up? What if you don't be courageous and step forward? What if? That's a powerful, powerful question. So, Caleb, as we turn the corner on this conversation, I want to ask you this one final question. For the leader that is listening, that is watching right now, that feels stuck in a career or feels stuck in life that no longer is in alignment, what is one step, or give us, what are some steps that a leader can take this week to begin moving forward towards something that is more intentional and life-giving?
Intentional life-giving power is in the tongue. The power of life and death are in the tongue. That's what the scriptures say. And whether you're somebody who is a person of faith or not, it's a universal, non-optional cause and effect principle. That is, when you speak to something positively or negatively, according to science, it will develop those dendrites and those neural pathways within our brains. So here's an activation for leaders. All of us, myself included, I'm going to do this today too. Look in the mirror, not as a sense of vanity, but look in the mirror and declare to your spirit, declare to your mind, declare to your body, declare to your entire being that you are an overcomer. You are built for this time. You are capable. You are one that has multiple perspective advantage. When you start to declare over yourself and into your brain and into your entire DNA who you are, then guess what? Your subconscious is going to listen to you one way or another. It's either going to listen to your words of life or words of death. Which one are we going to choose? Are you going to choose life or death? Because that is the decision. Choose this day whom you will serve. The ancient words of Elijah on Mount Carmel. This is relevant for us. Are you going to choose spirit or are you going to choose soul? Are you going to choose light or choose darkness? That's the activation. Look at yourself in the mirror and declare to your spirit, soul, and body, You are created for this purpose and this time. You will reach the purpose to which you've been created. Not might, not could be, you will. And when you declare that, your subconscious will listen, your body will listen, and things will start to accelerate in your life.
I love this. You know, they say that the voice that and it goes perfect what you just said, but the voice that we pay attention to the most, many times society will teach us that it's an external voice, somebody else or something else, but really it's our own voice. Our own voice is what your nervous system pays attention to, what your psyche pays attention to, right? So if we maintain stinking, what I call stinking thinking, if you maintain stinking thinking, like a lot of goodness could happen to us, but we would see it through a negative filter because that internal voice is not optimistic or does not see life, does not see hope. So I love the fact that you're reminding us to take action with that self-affirmation. Take action with positivity. Take action with gratitude, right? When we open up our eyes at the beginning of the day, instead of rehearsing the difficulties of the day, we need to start the day out by just being quiet and say, you know what? I'm thankful and grateful to be alive one more day.
Yep.
Even in the midst of whatever challenges I may be facing or obstacles that may be in my way, every day represents a new opportunity to move forward, right? Or to simply be. You know, one more thing I want to say real quick. I just feel it in my spirit. Like, just so many times when negativity comes and something like tragic or so, we instantly are tempted to double down into the negativity and then dwell in it.
Yep.
But so many times I have found that if I practice awareness, if I practice gratitude, even in the midst of what can be really hard times, there usually is something within that hard time that
Yeah.
causes me to grow, that
Yes.
maybe opens up a door or points me in a direction that if I was comfortable, that I would not move towards.
Yep, exactly. The depth of our valley is proportionate to the height of our mountain. And
Hey.
our culture often, they glamorize the mountain. They glamorize the breakthrough and the wins. And we all like to celebrate the wins. But in order to get to the mountain, you got to go through the valley of the shadow of death. But when you know that you go through the valley of shadow of death, you have another advocate. God walks with you, whatever your definition of God is, that you are not alone in this fight. You're not alone. And so your valley and your mountain are proportionate to one another. And these are the words that I want to leave our audience with. And this has been a great conversation. Thank you. The words I want to leave our audience with is beware of covenants, contracts, and agreements, because what you do or don't do will set the course of your life as leaders. So those internal contracts, those agreements that you make within your own mind about yourself, or you make with others, or you make with what culture thinks or should think about your construct. But the most important thing is to listen to your conscience, to listen to God, not the audience that thinks that you should be in this armor or that armor. No, your design, your DNA of design. Beware of covenants, contracts, and agreements, because they will dictate the course of your life. This has been a wonderful conversation, Adrienne. I want to thank you so much for this.
Absolutely. One more. I just had to acknowledge that I love this right here. Your valley and your mountain are proportionate. The depth of your valley is proportionate. Did you say to the height of your mountain?
That's right. The depth of your valley is proportionate to the height. So they are, they are connected. The deeper the valley, the higher the mountain.
Man, listen, that's what I'm walking away with. That's my takeaway from today. I am going to preach that one, Caleb. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. What an amazing conversation we've had today. And I really want to thank you for adding value to our community. I know that there are leaders that are listening and watching right now that are like, yes, I resonate with this. And they want to be able to contact you and move forward, right? So what's the best way for us to be able to engage with you?
Sure. There's a few step process, but the first one is through the C link on calebmatthews.net, but specifically the link that I've sent to Adrienne to share in the show notes as well is the DNA of Design quiz. You've heard me speak about this with Adrienne on the show today, of discovering your one of 7 design types, because we all have one of 7, which is our primary. Which one are you? It takes 5 minutes. It's free. There's no cost whatsoever. Take the quiz. And then let me know, shoot me up, contact me on my YouTube channel. youtube.com/@the-C-Link. Of course, following along, there's weekly motivational content for leaders and everyone alike. But take the quiz, the free quiz, and then you can follow me on YouTube. You can subscribe to my Beehive newsletter, seek the link twice a month. I've got those links as well on the website. And then of course, if you're like, I want more, oh my gosh, like there's got to be something more to activate within me. I do one-on-one link up coaching sessions to where pay me for a session, and we will customize a plan for your design type and how to walk that through. So that's how you can get a hold of me. But I'd love for you to join the C-Link community, because we got a buzzing one on YouTube just this morning. We were just commenting some more fresh content about the life of Desmond Doss, and also just some of my own experiences with pushing back against elitism within the world system as well.
I love this. Thank you so much. There you have it. What an amazing conversation on Microscope on the Matrix, Life Beyond the 9 to 5. Caleb, again, thank you so much for joining us here on Transformation Station.
Thank you, Adrienne.
Absolutely. All right. Well, listen, today's conversation with Caleb was epic. And it reminded us that fulfillment doesn't come from following a path that looks successful. It comes from building a life that is aligned. Now, Caleb helped us to see that stepping outside of the matrix is not about abandoning responsibility. It's about embracing and designing a life that reflects who we truly are. And to everyone that's listening and watching right now, I want you to remember that you are not stuck. You may simply be operating within a system that no longer fits you. The moment you gain awareness, you gain power to do differently. I know this episode has resonated with you, so I want you to be sure to subscribe to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast. Share this conversation with someone who's ready to move beyond default living into intentional leadership. And until next time, stay aware, stay intentional, and keep leading forward with purpose.